निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Good evening all. So today we're going to start about Trigunas. So I thought we should definitely start with a prayer from Bhagavad Gita also. So I just wanted to chant Bhagavad Gita's Jnana Shloka. Om Partaya Pradipoditam Bhagavatam Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavatim Ashtadashadyayini Amb Tvamanusandathami Bhagavat Gite Bhavatveshini. So we all know about the glory of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsa shudhir bhoktha dugdham geetamritam mahat. So it's about the song of the Lord, right? Which is the essence of all the Upanishads. And how can we all consume this nectar, which is Bhagavad Gita? And who can do it? Only people with clear intellect, right? So what does it mean by clear intellect? And that is what is the topic of today, Trigunas. How do we achieve this clear intellect, right? So basically, we've classified based on the Purusharthas, right? We have Artha, Kama, Dharma, and Moksha Purusharthas. So Artha Purusharthas are people who are struggling to get the basics right? And Kama Purusharthas, they have the basics, but there's a desire to seek something more. Can I have an additional AC in my house? Can I have another car? And, maybe I want to go to this place and so on. That's a Kama Purushartha. Then we have Dharma Purushartha, who is actually trying to get wealth, but not for themselves, but to serve the society, to be of service to the nation, to be of service to others. So that's Dharma Purushartha. Well, these three are there. Finally, the goal is the Moksha Purushartha, right? So one who is able to know that while you're doing all these three, the final goal is to attain the Moksha Purushartha, or the people with clear intellect, right? So for this, what decides that? How do we actually attain that? So that is what is defined as part of the Trigunas, right? So these three gunas play a major part in actually determining, the people, the quality, their actions, their thoughts, and so on. So they are inherent, which is by Prakriti. When the Prakriti is created, God has ensured that, it is not mundane and everybody is sattvic, there's nothing to do there in the world. So you need to have something of your there, right? You need different colors, different varnas, and that's how this basics triguna is there, right? So, Sattvam Rajas Tama iti guna prakriti sambhava nivadnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam, right? So this is what Lord Krishna said, right? Oh Arjuna, the material energy consists of three gunas, right? One is sattva, which is mode of goodness. The other is rajas, the mode of passion. Tamas, mode of ignorance, right? These three modes I created, okay, but I'm not the doer. I'm nowhere concerned. Don't come and blame me. I just created this, is what Lord Shri Krishna says. Just as you have rains, right? Rain just goes and flows everywhere. Sometimes you have flowers. There is tree coming up from that. There are thorny bushes also which come because of rain, right? Rain is not responsible for that. Rain, it has just rained. It is up to whatever springs forth. Similarly, Lord Krishna says, I only created this, okay? I am nowhere attached to whoever does it. and he plays his role. So he starts, enjoying what is created, and he's trying to see how people come out of that given the situation. That's what this entire thing is all about, right? Trigunas. So if you see trigunas, right, we have tamas, rajas, and sattva. You see the colors, they are like radio waves, microwaves, infrared, light, ultraviolet, X-ray, and gamma rays. So how they are spread, right? So depending on the frequencies, you have three primary modes of, the gunas. The peacefulness, very kind, well-being, serene, virtues. So that is called nirmalatmakam, right? So that is the sattva mode. The one which is active and who is always desiring for more, cannot be in one place. I always say I'm rajasic, right? Move from one after another, jump to one to another. So that is seeing how you cannot just sit in one place, right? You want to keep on doing some action and see how you can keep on learning something or interesting, getting something more or doing something ambitious and things like that. So that is called rajasic or karmatmakam. And the third one is the other side of sattva, very lazy, whatever happens, I don't care, right? Completely deluded, and okay, it will happen, chalega, it will happen, right? So that is the tamas mode, or mohatmaka, more very sleepy, very fond to sleep, and so on, right? So tamas is compulsive inactivity. So we don't see much action there. Rajas is compulsive activity. It's so visible, when they speak, when they act, and things like that. That is rajas. And sattva is being conscious, very patient, soft, and you'll see that sometimes they're also inactive. And we've called about extremes, often appear similar, like Swami Vivekananda told. So somebody will be thinking, okay, it looks like he's meditating when he's actually sleeping, right? So the opposites always appear similar. So these are the three gunas, right? How are these gunas based on the different composition, right? We have 6 as per our sir, but there's third one, which is suppose by chance, if they're all equal, then you have all equally balanced. But otherwise, primarily you have sattva guna, followed by rajas, tamas, sattva, tamas, ramas, and so on. Basically, there are 6 different combinations. But truly speaking, there is innumerable numbers of, like how you have the RGB, Vibgyor, right? You have the primary colors, red, green, and blue, that makes, so many lakhs and lakhs of colors. So is the human being. And other beings also. We are talking in specific to human beings here, because we know the same person is not the same when you rise up in the morning. Morning, you'll be tamasic, and then you look at the clock and you become so rajasic. I have to head back to the kitchen, prepare something, I have to go. And then you say, oh God, I forgot to pray. Then you go to pray and suddenly you become so sattvic, you pray to God and so on. And then immediately it changes to rajasic. You get into your, car or bike or bus or whatever, go to the office, and then of course you become tamasic. That's it, right? So this is how our colors, gunas change, right? So the combination of these gunas basically depends, forms the basis of one's character, right? Sattva is, how do you know basic nature, right? It is all there, we know. The same person, the gunas keep changing, but there'll be a common trait. How do you know that this person is basically a sattvic person or a rajasic person or a tamasic person? But look of them, right? They have more grasping power, the knowledge is more, right? Rajasic person are more focused on the actions there, and tamasic is pramada, it will happen, and so on. So the negligence automatically comes up, more sleepy, and so on. So the internal thoughts, the external circumstances, the past sanskaras, our previous birth, and how the family situation that we're growing together, all these actually, form a basis of a guna, right? So this is the basis for a character. So Lord Krishna says, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shashtam Gunakarma Vibhagasa Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidya Kartaram Avyayam. The 4 categories, I created basically based on the qualities and the activities of, a person, right? So although I am the creator, I am not a doer. I am just a witness, is what he says, right? So basically based on the qualities. So we say, the varna ashrama, the colors, and what kind of, quality of people. It is not jati based, right? it is more about guna based. So there is no gradation if it is based on jati. But based on gunas, we definitely have a lot of gradation. That's what we saw, right? So this classification can be based on guna and the karma, right? The qualities and the action that they do. So based on the guna, you can be a guna brahmana, guna kshatriya, guna vaishya, or guna shudra, right? So brahmana is one where they call it as mode of goodness, very pious, and always be able to serene, equally balanced, not being, too rude and harsh. Whatever way they speak, whatever activities they do is what is called as Guna Brahmana. Guna Kshatriya is one which has got a mixture of passion and goodness. So it's not that they're bad. They also want to do something good, but the only thing, the mode of doing it is very actable, very visible, right? So they want to ensure that, they are there doing at that particular place and they don't mind, being aggressive. So that is Kshatriya. And typically, if you see the karma that they undertake, they get into administration, management, ruling the country, and so on. The Vaishyas is a third category where it is mode of passion plus a little bit of ignorance. So that is the Guna Vaishya. So these are the people who are a little selfish, right? They do action. It's not that they're not willing to do action. They do a lot of hard work. They do a lot of, put in a lot of effort, but more to do what I can do for myself. Whereas Kshatriya is for protecting the country, for protecting the people. It can be protecting the colony. It can be anything. In our day-to-day, it could be protecting my team, right? So it's not just I, but it is my team, this one, I want to do something for our team is Kshatriya, right? Whereas Vaishya is what can I do for myself, right? So you have slight selfishness there that comes to a Vaishya. That's Guna Vaishya. And then there's Sudra, who is completely no care attitude, right? I don't mind, it's okay. I come, I do, I go. That's it. I get paid for, that's it. So there is no ambition basically there, right? So, and so on. So that is Guna Shudras, or complete inactivity because of laziness and lethargy. That is Guna Shudra. Typically, they are order takers. Somebody says you do this. They say, okay, I came, 9 o'clock I swiped in, 5 o'clock I gone, I'm done. That's it. You give me more work, I want to get a bigger role, I want to do something. No. Come, get, do, and assign the job, do it, and go. I'm happy. And then for them, it is a bliss, is what they call it as a bliss, right? So this is classification based on the guna and the karma. And then in further chapters, like we have Gunatraya, where, Vibhaga, and then there is Shraddhatraya Vibhaga. Lot of basis on the Guna basis is based on faith, based on food that we consume, based on yajna, tapas. So the different kind of, gunas, based on the different kind of activities, we can see 3 different gradations in the gunas. So if you see the based on, let's take the first one based on faith. Sattvic people, right? Sattvic person are the ones who worship the celestial gods, right? And the faith is like they have the good qualities. They pray for the universe, not for themselves, right? So there is the faith there. Rajasic ones are ones who actually pray for, to getting more wealth, or, praying to a specific Ishtadevata or Yaksha to say that I need this power, like Ravana who did. He was also praying, but he wanted some additional power and so on. Right? And tamasic are the ones who is basically trying to harm others sometimes, right? So they worship the spirits, ghosts, and they see, okay, I pray so that I get this power. I get this power not to help others, but to see how I can, grab more, how I can go and harm others. So that is the tamasic faith. And then based on the food consumed. So sattvic food are the ones, right, which is, who eat the food that promote more lifespan, get more strength, they become really healthy, a positive person, and there's a satisfaction in what they eat, right? And they eat what kind of food? Which is juicy, which is succulent, which is, very bland. It doesn't have too much of spice and, which is not sour, etc. So they do the longevity increases. So they eat that kind of food which will promote the longevity, lifespan, right? Grains, pulses, beans, etc. Whereas the Rajasic kind of food is that food which is bitter, sour, salty, the hot chips that we eat, right? Peri peri masalas and all of that. So such foods produce more pain. It's good when we eat, but then of course you suffer later, right? So it is not at all going to be healthy in the longer run. So that is Rajas. Tamas is even worse, right? The food that is cooked is it's overcooked or it's stale. It is it is maybe yesterday's food that is reheated and so on. So and sometimes it is like kept in the freezer and then you reheat and reheat and reheat. There's nothing there. There's no life in that food at all, right? Because all the goodness in the food is gone. They say that anything that is not eaten within 3 hours of having cooked, it has lost all its properties, all the goodness in the food is lost. So tamasic food belongs to that particular category. And then comes yagna and tapas, right? Yagna is a sacrifice. So we already saw what kind of god, what kind of deity that they worship. But there is also, yagna depends on the method of worship, the motive of worship. Are they using, what is the intent, right? And what is the motive? Is that pure intent without attachment, right? Are they using that for spiritual growth to ensure that Lokashemam is available? So that is called Sattva Guna, Sattvic sacrifice or Sattvic, yajna. If you talk about Rajasic, it is about, having a personal gain, personal recognition. We already saw that. This is more motive as competition and ego, right? It is not something to do with the society. It's about how can I go and, beat them? I need to do the sacrifice. I want to do Ashwamedha Yaga so that I can go and conquer more land. This is what happened those years, right? Today we do a Ashwamedha Yaga in a different way. We say that I do more sacrifices, I do this yaga so that I get God Lakshmi wealth. Nothing wrong in it, but what are you using it for? Are you using it for personal self, or is it used for, the serving the other people? So that intent is where, the difference between Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic happens. So external rituals which is focusing on pomp and show, I have such a big, pandal, I have invited so many people. It's all pomp and show there. So that is Rajasic. In Tamasic, it is even worse. It is the motive itself is harmful. The yagna itself is done so that they can go and, cast something to others. They pray that, the others perish. So that is the tamasic. It's born out of ignorance that they do. Sometimes it is cruel, sometimes it's harmful. Sometimes they go to that extent. We will see in tapas and austerity, right? That they do, inflict their own self-harm. So one is the yagna, the other is tapas or the austerity. So how was it being performed? We already saw, right? So if the tapas is all, sitting in a calm place, meditating on one god or whatever deity, and, sitting and praying, that is one kind of tapas. The tapas that is which is there, which is done for material benefits, right? You do physical practices, you do a lot of ambitious work. You do that. Some people do 7 days fasting or a month fasting because somebody would have told, you do it. Ekadashi fasting is different, right? There you have a purpose. But somebody will say, I will do only 10 days. I will not eat anything until I get this, right? That is a different kind of Rajasic is what, is called as. It's a Rajasic way of doing tapas. The last one, Tamasic, is just the opposite, where it is completely ignorance. There is, it is always harmful in intent. And sometimes people just go and, they do self-inflict pains. They do that piercing, or they sacrifice animals, thinking that this is going to please God. They offer, whether it is goat or cow or whatever it is, right? Depending on their culture, they do that. Right. And sometimes in the olden days, we also heard they also sacrifice people, right? That was, of course, thankfully not this age, but previously they used to do that as well, right? So that's completely tapasic way of doing sacrifice. So based on the food we eat, based on the sacrifice we do, based on yagna, there is this 3 types of guna. Similarly, dana, based on what we give, whom do we give? So sattvic dana is giving dana to the right person at the right time. It's not just flaunting money and just throwing money to inappropriate people. Are we able to give to the, without any attachment, sincerely saying that let us be of use to, the human society? It can be to the cows, it can be to the dogs, but charity is something that you do. Dana is that comes purely from your heart, where you're able to give it to the right person at the right place. That is Satvika Dana. The same thing, you expect something. Oh, somebody told me, right? If I give this money, I will get back double the money the next week. They say that if I'm able to donate now, my ancestors will come and bless me. I will get double this one, richness, and so on. So the intent there, though the action is the same, the intent differs. The intent is to expecting some return. It can be even the intent is I'll get more punya. That is also kind of rajasic. There's an expectation there. Okay, if I do this, I'll get more punya. My papa will be this, I have some papa will be subtracted. So I do this, right? That is also rajasic. Tamasic is completely doing charity, wrong place, wrong people, unworthy people, right? Without even, who doesn't even know what it is, that is tamasic, right? So based on dana, again, we have this classification. Then going forward, right, in chapter 18, we see that it's sattva, rajasic and tamasic is also based on the intellect. Do we really understand, right, what is right and what is wrong? So we are renouncing what? Renounce fear, renounce the karma, they say, right? You renounce your world results of the action. You are renouncing, saying that, okay, I will do action, but I don't expect the results. The phala is something that I leave it to the God, Ishvara Pranidhana, right? That intellect, if you are able to do, then that is sattvic. Somebody is confused, like, okay, should I do this? Is it dharma or adharma, right? I'm not able to take a decision, right? Somebody says, this particular Ragu Kala, you should not do this, and this particular time I have to do it. I'm very confused. I'm not able to use my intelligence because I have to go and attend something important. And then somebody comes and says, this particular time is unauspicious, don't go. So people are confused. They're not able to use their buddhi correctly to determine what is dharma and what is adharma, and what, in terms of conflicts, right? Maybe, they are trying to help a friend during examination, right? And somebody says, can you tell me the answer? Am I doing dharma or adharma there? So that is rajasic. A simple way so we are able to relate to it. Tamasic is completely different, which treats dharma as adharma and adharma as very clear in doing the opposite. So that is tamasic. And they say that, you know what, I renounce anything because anyway, this is bliss for me. It is all natural. Everything will come to me. I don't want to do anything. They think I have renounced action itself. They will not do any action. So that is tamasic. So buddhi is the intellect, and it is up to the human being to see what would, what will you pick up, right? So that we know how the world perceives oneself. So that is what is buddhi. Finally, you have sukha, and then of course tyaga. So sukha is, we rejoice by practicing, right? So sukha is when you rejoice, when, we see that, I'm going through a lot of pain. Maybe, we can take the example of studying, what we do today, or, what, I'm sleeping at 12:30 and getting up at 3 in the morning. I have to do so much of it. I'm sacrificing and all. But at the end of it, the pain is gone. You get the nectar, right? When you know that I have learned this completely, I understood, I'm now a liberated soul. So that is sukha. That sukha is something that gives you permanent happiness, right? It is born out of inner pleasantness. And you know that you're a realized soul now. So that is a kind of sattvic sukha. Rajasic sukha is based on the pleasure that arises based on what you eat. Oh, you know what? Today I went for this hotel. There was a big buffet. I had a lot of things. It was just fantastic. So at the beginning, it is like sukha, right? But at the end, the afternoon, when your stomach starts grumbling, you know it is a pain, right? It's actually, it ends up like poison. So that is the Rajasic sukha. They will not be able to understand which one to focus on, what exactly is the pleasure that gives. So small pleasures, external pleasures is what they think is permanent sukha. Well, it is not. Tamasic pleasure is completely self-delusive, right? let's say I'll not do anything. At least these guys go somewhere, take an effort to go. They order from home, sitting at home and say, okay, they'll come and deliver. I don't want to move out of this house. I'll sit in my sofa. I'll sit in the couch. I have a movie running there. I watch it, right? So that is tamasic sukha. So happiness or pleasure, and it is all, rajasic and tamasic plus sukhas are all impermanent. That moment you may get the sukha, but ultimately it ends in the dukkha, right? The real sukha is what we need to focus on, which will give us the inner pleasantness and happiness. So that is sukha. Finally, we come to tyaga, right? So tyaga is selfless action. We all know, right? So selfless action, when we do, right? Like Janaka Maharaja. So he is involved without any attachments to the results. And he performs his duty, even though he is there living among the individuals. He's not renounced, he's not a sannyasi, he is a grihastha. But still, you are able to do your action with a sense of duty, right? With no attachment to the results, a calm and balanced mind. So that is called tyaga. So today's world, if you have to apply, when you go and volunteer for a charitable organization without seeking recognition, I don't want my name to come in the paper. I don't want to catch photographs and I say, you know what, we went to this particular children's home, we donated this, it comes in the WhatsApp, you share it. No. Without even anybody even knowing that you're helping others, right? Without expecting return from that. That is sattvic tyaga, right? Other thing, rajasic is renounce, right? But you know that, you're renouncing it for your personal gain. So that is restlessness that is rajasic, right? Example is this, we work extra hours, right? Maybe why you are doing extra work, extra hours, because you want a promotion, right? You're saying, I didn't even watch a movie, I was working whole long in the proposal. Why? Because for your career success, right? So that is, you're sacrificing there. You're not going to a movie. You're not going outside. Why? Because you are seeking a promotion in your job for your own personal benefit, nothing else there. So that sacrifice is rajasic sacrifice. Then there's a third kind of sacrifice, which is completely saying, you know what? I sacrifice my action itself. Why should I do it? Anywhere I go, people give me, right? I don't have any responsibilities. Somebody will take care of my responsibilities. So that is tamasic. So this is what, and last but not least, I think we have a couple of more slides. So we saw sukha, tyaga, and then we have the determination, the dhriti, the valor, and the speech, right? The courage. So the courage here is, how is it rooted, right? If it is rooted by righteousness and compassion. So I have a courage, somebody is not well, I will go and work for them, despite whether it is a hard biting cause, no outside, there is somebody suffering outside. Can I go outside and have the courage to be able to support them? I'm not afraid. Somebody is being bitten or in the street. Can I go and protect them? That courage, that fearlessness is sattvic, right? Where you are able to confront a challenge, right? Even though, and that is for the benefit of the good, right? So that is a sattvic courage. Whereas rajasic is where you go fearless because you want to prove something to somebody. I can do that. I can climb this mountain because I want to prove to the world that I have it. So that is rajasic courage. Tamasic is completely, you think you're the hero, you go and beat up everybody, you don't care what it is, that is tamasic, right? Similarly, speech. How do you speak, right? Is your words very pleasant, not hurting anybody, right? It is soothing. It is going to give compassion. You are able to show empathy to others when your speech, through your speech. So that is sattvic, right? When you boast, you keep talking about what I've achieved here. I've done this. All this is because of me, right? And the talk is sometimes so much that you influence. It's all influence for a desire for success. So that is it's all rajasic speech. Completely opposite, harmful, critical, offensive, hurting others, demotivating them, cursing them. That is all tamasic speech, right? And finally, determination. So we saw courage, then there is a determination. If I take a determination today, right, my intent is pure, And all I'm doing is to ensure that I'm able to, so you can say the valor, determination can go hand in hand, right? So the dhriti and the courage will go hand in hand, which says that I am virtuous, I am going to do, follow this path of dharma so that I am able to endure challenges, but for good. So that is the determination. So one is courage, other is you hold on to that, right? The other kind of rajasic determination is completely personal, right? You want to have your own goals. You're determined to do that, to achieve it for your personal success. That is rajasic. The other determination, which is tamasic, is completely stubborn. You are rooted in your ignorance and you don't want to budge a bit, right? You're saying, I will do this because this is how I'll be doing it. So you're not going to listen to anybody, go and harm others, and being able to inflict somebody, you're determined in a wrong way. That is tamasic, right? So anudvega karanam is, I'm sorry, the words should not be disturbing. Talking to one who is not interested also is rajasic, because you are actually inflicting more pain to them. People are not willing, but you go and keep talking to them about topics they're not interested. Speak the truth, speak softly with compassion and love, and which speak whatever is good, is what the gunas say based on sattva, rajas, and tamas, right? So as human beings, we have all been given these gunas, right? Where do we stand for? What is this for? How do you become that clear intellect, right? Whereby we'll be able to get the fruit of the Bhagavad Gita nectar. So that is where this gunatita comes, right? The qualities of the liberated soul. So they're not disturbed, they are balanced. Whatever good comes, whatever bad comes. In sukha and dukkha, the pair of opposites, they remain the same, right? They can see the effects of gunas. So if somebody is behaving wrong, you don't just see what they're doing. Maybe you understand why they are doing it, right? If you are able to empathize with the other person, you are able to understand why this agony, why this fear, or why their anger. If you can see that, then you become gunatita, right? And you're able to understand that everything is Shrishti of God, right? He has created, he's playing here, and he's all this Maya that has been created. Whatever we do, it is all under his control. We're not going to be affected by any changes that happens in the world, right? And you're not going to be miserable when some adversity strike, or not going to crave for pleasures, right? All this is Gunatita, right? How do we get to this? So people born, when you're born, all are Shudras, right? As by Guna, we are all Shudras because we are born without anything. We are sleeping and all of that until we are baby. And then slowly we need to see how we can change them to Guna Vaishya by giving them some Kamya Karma, give them some job that they'll be interested in, create the passion so that they are able to transform the person so they become Guna Vaishya, right? Our own team members, our own neighbors, our own children. How can we make them first interested something so they get that interest to do certain Kamya Karma. Once they are at least Guna Vaishya, then you see how we can transform them as Guna Kshatriya by doing this Karma Yoga, right? As Karma Yoga, we have a lot of those steps. We've seen that, following, being a Siddha Prajna, how can you, being in a Karma Yoga, how will be able to perform the duties, following your Yama, Niyama, all of that, right? And ensuring that you do Ishvara Pranidhana, whatever you do, you surrender to the God. So at least you try to make them that, okay, first from Guna Vaishya, at least try to do something for the society, that is Guna Kshatriya. Then from Guna Kshatriya, you attain Guna Brahmana by Upasana Yoga. You have the yagnas, you have the disciplines that you do, get away with all of those moha, lobha, etc. Then you do the Upasana Yoga. Then finally, you become Gunatita by the Jnana Yoga, right? So from Satvika, we become Gunatita by practicing this Jnana Yoga. So I've just tried to put this in a kind of mind map, thanks to Geeta ji and, thanks to, our friends here. So whatever I summarize is there in this chat. So finally, how do we end this? It just beautifully ended by saying, how to stay sattvic. If you're sattvic, stay sattvic. You gradually grow out of rajasic, get rid of tamasic completely, right? But even then, when you're sattvic, right, we have this maya, which says, you know what, I like this meditation, I like this peace. So there also you get this attachment, right? How can we get this attachment? You use Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga as a stepping stone so that we reach the transcendental platform. And finally, if you are able to surrender all our activities to God, that is Om Tat Sat, right? This is how we are able to get into Gunadhita. Om Tat Sat iti nirdesho brahmanastri vidha smritha brahmanastina vedascha yagnascha vihita pura. Thank you. So with this I end. And of course, Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Bhabebhyo Moksha Ishyami Ma Suchaha. So whatever we do, if we are able to surrender ours to God, all our sins are, of course, with Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, you follow that. And then all our sins are eliminated and God gives us moksha. So this is how we end the session of Trigunas. Thank you very much.